Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Eric Pitt, and I work for the Ceres Accelerator for Sustainable Capital Markets. Ceres is a sustainability nonprofit that's been around for over 30 years. Ceres works with companies and investors to help them on their sustainability journeys. And the Ceres Accelerator for Sustainable Capital Markets works with financial regulators to help bring about a system that will address climate change and help us move towards a more sustainable future. Ceres has been collaborating with Environmental Defense Fund to help drive sustainable retirement investing. And we're here to talk to you today about an important new proposed rule from the Department of Labor that would govern 401ks and other defined contribution retirement plans. The 401k market and other ERISA defined contribution plans hold about $8 trillion in assets. Over 140 million American workers participate in these plans. Last summer, the Department of Labor issued a rule that all but prohibited fiduciaries from considering climate and other ESG factors when making investment selections for these plans. As a result, about 99% of these assets are invested without any consideration for climate risk. However, institutional investors around the world broadly acknowledge that climate is material and that they must consider climate risk in making investment decisions. There's also a strong grassroots interest in this country in values-oriented investing. The new rule proposal is called Prudence and Loyalty in Selecting Plan Investments and Exercising Shareholder Rights. This rule would allow plan sponsors to consider climate risk and other ESG factors in fund selection, as they would for any other financially material factor. We're asking you today to please act and help create a strong public record of support for this rule. This public record would create a mandate for the department to put a final rule in place to make these changes, thereby undoing the 2020 rule, which at the time drew nearly 9,000 comments, over 95% of which were opposed. A strong public record would also help defend against any litigation that may be brought in the courts against this rule in the future. To talk about some key elements of this rule, first and foremost, it clarifies the relevance of climate and other ESG factors as material in decision-making for investment fund selection. It also deletes the term pecuniary that was introduced in the 2020 rule, returning to the historic standard of financially or economically material factors that's been in place since 1978. It removes special restrictions on the defaults or QDIAs that would prohibit ESG funds from being included. And it removes confusing and problematic language introduced in the 2020 tiebreaker rule. Finally, it restores fiduciary authority to make prudent decisions in proxy voting. With that, I'd like to hand it over to my colleague, Gabe Malik, Project Manager in Investor Influence at EDF. Gabe?
Great, thank you, Eric. Nice to meet you all, and thank you again for taking the time to speak with us today. My name is Gabe Malik, and I work at Environmental Defense Fund, collaborating closely with Ceres on this important rule. So why should you support this rule of the Department of Labor? First and foremost, this is a great opportunity to protect your long-term savings from climate risk. We know that climate change presents acute threats to long-term financial savings, especially those of retirees invested for the long term and spread across the entire economy. So it's crucial that we make sure that retirement investments account for these extreme climate risks. Second, this is an opportunity to align savings with values. We see from countless industry polls that more and more workers are interested in sustainable investing and want their retirement assets to reflect their values. By supporting this new rule from the DOL, you can help ensure that your retirement savings go towards climate solutions. Which leads to reason number 3. This is a great opportunity to yield and wield the trillions of dollars in 401k assets for climate solutions. If we can get the retirement savings of millions of Americans to go towards companies and assets that are working to lower greenhouse gas emissions, we can mitigate extreme climate risk. And finally, with business growth resulting from increased investment in climate solutions, we can open up new jobs and business opportunities for Americans, putting this country on a more competitive standing with its global peers. How can you support the rule? Well, as Eric mentioned, the best, most direct way is by submitting a comment to the Department of Labor expressing your support. The comment deadline is December 13th, and Ceres has prepared a template letter to make this process as easy as possible. And remember, a strong public record is crucial to ensuring that this rule is finalized. With robust public support, we can make sure that the department issues a strong rule and ultimately a rule defensible in court. If you're interested in learning more, we encourage you to attend our webinar at 3 p.m. Eastern on November 17th to hear from leading industry experts on the rule, including Assistant Department of Labor Secretary Ali Kawar. It's a great chance to have your questions answered and learn from leaders in this space. I'd like to close by thanking you for listening to our presentation and engaging on a rule that will shape the way millions of Americans save for retirement. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to any of us, and we'd be happy to help. Thank you.